lady glasses on. Amethyst Ascension had done a tarot hashtag, so I thought that I would come on and uh, do the hashtag, but gotta be able to see that print, and don't want to write all that down, so I'm just gonna use the other phone. So gotta do the old lady glasses. So it is the Real Tarot Readers hashtag. I'll put a link in the description down below so you can, read the questions and do the hashtag if you want. So, question number one: Do you do you have to know all the book meanings? Uh, yes and no. I believe that, but then again, I don't have them all memorized. So sometimes I kind of will have to revert back because there's a difference between intuitive reading versus the traditional way of doing things. So depending on what you're doing, sometimes when you're doing a reading, the traditional or according by the book is something that you need to do, and sometimes it's not. So that's going to depend on the particular reading you're doing. Can you be an intuitive who uses the tarot cards and be considered a tarot reader? I read intuitively. I've worked really hard at being halfway decent at reading intuitively. I know there's a difference between tarot and oracle, and when I do oracle, I will read the book meaning and then I will read intuitively. So, again, everybody reads different. This is just one blind witch's opinion, okay? Just say it. Number three, do you have, to be reading the others to be a real tarot reader? Do you have to be reading for others to be a real tarot reader? No, because there are people that believe that you should never read for yourself, that you should only read for others. So that boils down to a person's opinion. There are people that say you shouldn't go and buy your own tarot, that it's not real if somebody gifts it to you. It's not necessarily that I agree with that. Now, when you read for yourself, I think maybe you can be a bit, at times, see what you want to see. But no, I don't really feel that you have to do that. Uh, do you have to be a professional reader, to be considered a real tarot reader? I don't. Do you mean professional as in do you got to get paid for it? No, I do readings for people all the time. I just did a reading for Lady Adara about 2 weeks ago, and didn't pay me. I don't charge for readings because I don't feel that I'm good enough of a reader to charge. Not to mention the fact that I could kind of get in trouble with SSI, and I don't want to get in trouble with SSI. So if you don't, even though you don't really, it's not necessarily a stable income. And to me, it's like mass market right now with readers, especially people that I don't consider to be professional readers. They're just doing it to make a quick buck. And I've seen some people do some pretty scammy stuff, especially on Facebook. So, number five, do you need to have a certification to be a real tarot reader? If so, who determines you're certified? Yeah, I'd like to know that too. I didn't know you had to be certified in order to be a tarot reader. That's new to me. Although I've been studying and learning from other people for a good amount of years, and I don't know if they're certified. I don't know. I didn't even know you had to have a certification. That's new to me. I didn't know you had to have one. I know that, unless there's things with high priestess and things like that, I never knew that. Okay. Do you need to go, number 6, do you need to know the Golden Dawn symbolism or astrology or Kabbalism, what something Kabbalistic tree to be a real tarot reader? Okay, I don't have the Golden Dawn. Some symbolism, yeah, because there may be a particular deck that you're using, or something, a symbol that's going to have an effect on the reading that you're giving someone. So to an extent, I would have to say yeah. I never knew, well, I'm partially blind. The Magician, I always thought that was a rope that he was using for a belt. I didn't know it was a snake. So, so in a way, kind of, yeah. You do, just because it can, that card, if you're particularly drawn to some picture or something on the card, then yeah, just because it's going to affect the reading. Okay, do you have to know the history of tarot to be a real tarot reader? If so, what history? I'd like to know that too. I mean, we all kind of know the history of it, especially nowadays when you have certain religious groups like spreading all kinds of lies and misinformation and misconceptions about tarot reading, because if you're a tarot reader, you're a Satanist. So yeah, I think these people that criticize tarot need to know the history. Number 8, does having a smaller or larger collection determine if you're a better or worse real tarot reader? Okay, here's the deal. Everybody reads differently. Now, for example, I don't have as big of a collection as, say, Mama Squirrel. Hold on a second. I don't have as big of a collection as she does. But when I do readings for people, I look at the cards that I have, in order to match the person's energy. Let's say, I'm just going to use Amethyst for example. There's cards, if she called me up and said, hey, can you do a reading for me? There's going to be certain decks, like, I don't have Dogwise, I'm going to get Dogwise, that I would, that would be one deck I would grab. The other is Spirit Tarot. It's more of a Kabbalah type of deck. Then I would say Eerie of Eerie's Witchcraft. If I were doing Eerie, I'll there's certain cards for Eerie that I'll grab. I do stuff for Lady Adara. There's certain decks that I'll grab for her. Phoenix Fire, I'll get the dark decks out for her. It depends. If I don't know the person all that well, then I'll just keep it basic. Or, kind of talk to the person to kind of get an idea of what their energy is and what they're into. Because I'm going to get decks that kind of match their energy. Because I just had a discussion with my kid about my tarot deck. I'm like, you gotta, that's just how I read. Other people, they may do it a little bit differently. Everybody reads differently. Number 9, do you have to read reversals to be considered a real tarot reader? I don't do reversals. I don't do reversals. Now I might get the vice versa tarot at some point. But no, I don't but then again, that's just me with my visual acuity. I don't have a person across from me when I'm reading. I have them sitting here because it visually it's just too overwhelming for me. So, and when I'm reading, I'm looking at the pictures and the story of what's going on. So no, I don't read reversals. But again, to each their own. Number 10, do you have to use certain techniques or customs to be considered a real tarot reader? Be gifted your first deck, shuffle a certain way, or use certain spreads or no spreads. Okay. I just brought up about being gifted. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Again, to each their own. I'm not gonna sit here and say what a other person should or shouldn't do. Shuffle a certain way. I can't riffle shuffle to save my freaking life because I have arthritis. So, because of issues with my hands, I have to shuffle things a different way. So, you know, because of my disability, I have to do things a little bit differently. So, whatever's comfortable to that other person, but, you know, I think there's a little bit kind of too much gatekeeping in the tarot community at times. You don't take a person's disability in account, but then again, you know, that's just me. People that do read, when they're doing readings for people, they have their own rituals that make them open up or feel more confident, or hey, more power to you. You know, I mean, everybody does it differently. Now, I do have a thing with people just shuffling the cards, and I've just seen some people do some scamming with it, and I kind of have an issue with, you know, just you know, yes, you can read it by the book. Certain people, certain authors, they have more than just the meaning in the book. They may have meditations in the book. I have the Medicine Woman deck, and to me, it's a tarot, but it's more of an oracle to me. You know, there's all kind of other things that are in the book that are helpful to the person I'm doing the reading for. But you know, people that I'll just study it for a month or two, and then I'm just gonna go out and do readings and get money. You know, a lot of us have been studying and learning for a long time. So it's just that, again, it's just one person's opinion. Number 12. Can you refer to your guidebook and still like I said. Okay, number 13. Is reading with playing cards, lemonade, oracle cards, or kipper, or any other card besides tarot still a real tarot reading? If you're using tarot, you say tarot. If you're using oracle, you say oracle. I use the Dixit cards. I learned that from Tangi. You know, cardomancy is cardomancy. Where you're, I don't know anything about lemonade. I've never had an inclination to it. I don't mess with lemonade. I think it's far too confusing. It's just, I don't do it. Not to say that someone who does, that they're right or wrong. That's them. It's not something that I feel comfortable using with divination. But you know, people make their own tarot cards. So, you know, I just say I'm doing readings. So, usually I'll implement tarot. There's one particular oracle deck that I'm just spot on with intuitive stuff with it. I can be reading the oracle message, and as I'm reading that message, because when I read for people or doing something, I'll read the cards first, and then I make the video, versus like a live reading, because I can focus more. And sometimes as I'm reading the oracle message, then that's when, you know, things will come in and spirit will speak. And I write everything down. Um, but, you know, when I'm doing it live, it's totally different. I feel like I can do more in depth stuff when I do it with reading everything and writing it down, so that, you know, it comes through my writing. Spirit speaks to me that way. I'm working on improving on that. But that's just how I feel comfortable doing readings. Question 14. What, what is a real, what, I'm having trouble reading the print. What, um, what is a real tarot reader to you? Basically. I can't, I'm having a real, it's bright out here. To me, what a real tarot reader is somebody that, um, is doing the stuff to help other people, um, and to improve on their own growth. I don't feel that and I've seen people do some scammy stuff. Don't get me wrong. There was be a lady that went on Facebook, and she would say, "Hey, I'll read for who I'm drawn to." The thing of it was is that she would only pick people whose Facebooks were not private, and have somebody on the off camera, like, texting her information concerning stuff that they posted on their Facebook. So do I feel that people that are scammers, you know, knowing the meanings of the cards, and then taking something like this, like, you know, um, the Chariot, and talking about looking at this Chariot card and saying, you know, this card means that your ex is coming back to you. You know, I think Divination did something about this. You know, so I guess, you know, in a way, yeah, knowing the meanings of the cards. But then again, when you have these decks, you go also by the artist's interpretation of what a particular card is. So I guess I'm just going to have to backtrack and say that, um, you when you're reading, you need to understand what the artist was trying to say, or what the artist's interpretation of something was. Because if you try, say, with that Witch's Tarot Garden that I just got, even though it's Rider-Waite based, and then you try to use the Rider-Waite system, you just kind of, I had a really hard time. I had to learn that, you know, every artist is gonna interpret the Three of Swords completely and totally differently. So depending on the particular card, I'm gonna say, well, it could be this. It could, you know, it depends on the particular card. I can sit here and I can have 3 decks, and someone will ask me a question, and I'll use 3 decks, and I can get 3 totally different readings, because it also, again, goes by the particular deck that you're using. So, but saying something like the Chariot, and someone who's doesn't know anything about tarot, and showing that Chariot card and saying, well, this means that you're getting back with your ex. You know, I mean, I don't feel that people that are intentionally scammers, are real tarot readers. I'm not going to say that people shouldn't get paid for what they do, because they should. But I think that it's more of an easy means of income for people anymore. And there's a lot of just mass market with tarot readers nowadays. And I'm not gonna, judge somebody's hustle, but just some people, it's not, a form of divination. It's not spiritual. It's just like, oh, I got these cards. Give me a week. I'm gonna learn them, and then I'm just gonna go out here and tell people what they want to hear. Um, and then again, if you want a reading from somebody, you need to be more mindful about the questions that you ask, though, too. So, but this is just one blind witch's opinion. Um, but anyway, peace, love, and light, guys.